Hi, Verbling. My name's Michaela. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and today we're talking about idioms and proverbs. I put my Facebook name in the chat box for you guys over there. So if you have any questions or comments about this class, you can let me know. And Kevin, welcome to class.
Good morning, teacher.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. What about you?
Awesome. I'm doing well, although there were some weird technical issues at the beginning of this class, but it's all smoothed out, so we can continue.
Yeah, I see that it's almost 90-20.
Yeah, I know. I started the class like 3 or 4 times and it didn't register that it started, so I was like talking to nobody. But now it's all better.
Yeah, but now I'm here. You can talk to
Yes,
me.
yes. Now I have someone to talk to.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's start by talking about any proverbs or idioms you already know in English. Do you have any ideas so far?
Share some idioms. You already know.
Or if you can't think of any idioms in English that you already know, are there any you'd like to share in another language? Any other language you want?
Japanese?
Japanese would be great.
Okay. Well,
So, what are some idioms or proverbs in Japanese that you might know or like?
I like in Japanese. I like the proverb when they gonna apologize for something. It's
Like
really,
what?
yeah, like すみませんでしたね. It's so sorry about that. Like that. Yeah, I think it's so beautiful how they speak in so polite. It's すみませんでした.
Wow, it sounds pretty cool. And what situation would you use that expression for?
Oh, if you make some mistakes on the work, or if you, it's in general, like sorry.
So, what if someone's relative died? Could you use the expression if it's not your fault? If it's like,
No, no, no.
okay.
You can't use that when someone, if you going to one funeral,
Mhm.
you can't use that. It's another way. I can't remember now the word, but
Interesting.
you
So
know,
this
I
expression
live in,
just
yeah, I live in here for almost 10 years. I have never been in one Japanese funeral.
well, that's probably lucky. I mean,
Yeah,
hopefully you won't ever have to attend a funeral, although that's
yeah.
probably not very
There's
realistic.
there's so many traditional ways to you need to you need a dress. There's a dress. You need to buy one dress if someone
Wow.
die. Yeah, you need to buy one dress. You need to make one ceremony, study about that. It's really complicated. Uh, yeah, there's some thing and many things you need to do in the funeral, and it take like 20 hours for 30 hours. It's so long.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so long.
Complex.
Like 2 days.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that expression with us and a little bit about Japanese culture. I'm going to welcome a couple other students. Umberto, welcome to class.
Thank you, Michaela.
Umberto, are there any idioms or proverbs that you would like to share with us that you already know in English or any other language?
I think that there's one It's like when Rome do as the Romans.
Yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
expression. And can you tell us what it means or maybe when you would use that expression?
Uh, I think it's like you should act like the others when you are in a stranger place or if you are not secure or safe on what to
Mm-hmm.
do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
excellent. Thanks, Umberto.
welcome.
And Sajid, do you have good morning, first of all, or good afternoon for you,
Good
probably?
afternoon here.
Do you have any idioms or proverbs you'd like to share with us, maybe that you know of English or any other language?
Yeah, in English, for example, piece of cake.
That's a great
It's
one. How can we use that one?
it means something is very easy.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
So,
That's a
the
very
for
cute one.
example, that test was a piece of cake, some academic test.
Yeah, perfect. If the test was really easy, that would be a great expression to
Yeah,
use.
and
All right. Anything else?
yeah, get over it
Get over
means
it.
yes,
Good
means
one.
forget about the past.
Mm-hmm.
Is it right?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, another thing I want to share that I'm in the office. So maybe you listen or heard some noise from here. So I muted my mic. So when
Mm-hmm.
I speak, I will unmute it.
Okay, excellent. That is a good policy, and I usually hope that all students do that just because we all have a little background noise, and I also mute myself when I'm not speaking because it just makes things a little more clear in class. So I really appreciate that you do that, Saeed. Thank you. Okay, then let's get started. I have plenty of idioms and proverbs for us to learn and discuss today, starting with this short list of 9. So there are 9 idioms here that we're going to try to associate with their definition. Now, this is just a game, so if you don't know the answer, it's no problem. We can try to figure it out together, or I'll just give you the answer. Number 1, dime a dozen. And now let's read some of these definitions and see if we can figure out what's the answer to dime a dozen. We'll go 3 by 3, starting with Umberto. Can you read the first 3 definitions for us?
Yes, teacher. To no longer be able to do something well. This doesn't involve you. It isn't your business. Pretending to cry in an attempt to manipulate or exploit. Funny tears.
Thank you. And the next 3 are going to be for Kevin. Kevin, can you read these 3?
Yes, to say things intended to errors.
Mm-hmm.
Praise comes from a hairstyle, so plentiful as to be nothing special, common. A happy person, a satisfied participant.
Thank you very much. And the last 3 are for Sajid. Can you read those?
Okay, nearly achieving success, but not quite. Carnival Games gave these out as prizes. Dressed flamboyantly, dressed well, to accept the truth, drums play when somebody is court-martialed.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we've read all the definitions, and the first one is dime a dozen. Do you guys have any idea which definition sounds like it might describe dime a dozen?
From one of the three or from whole?
Which one?
I said from whole at the right side of corner.
Here, let's do this. I'm gonna letter these. That way, it's a little easier to understand which one you guys are talking about. All right. Any ideas so far about which definition goes with dime a dozen?
Maybe letter E. So plentiful as to be nothing special.
Yes, exactly. So plentiful as to be nothing special. A dime a dozen. And make sure you guys mark these down because we're going to be using these expressions in a little bit for something else. All right, let's go on to the next one. The next one is face the music. Any ideas which definition goes with face the music?
Happy person as satisfied participator.
Not quite, not F. It's a different one. Try again. What do you guys think?
To accept the truth.
To accept the truth.
Yeah, to accept the truth. Drums played when someone is court-martialed. So, face the music means that you have to probably do something unpleasant like, oh, I have to face the music and return to work today. I'm returning to reality. Awesome. Yeah, busting chops is number 3. So we've already marked off I and E. From the other ones left, which do you think is the appropriate definition? Any guesses here?
For face the music?
No.
For number 3, busting chops.
Number 3, busting chops. Chops?
What does
Chop.
it mean, busting chops?
That's a good question. We're going to answer what this expression means in a second. And I think someone asked about the word chops. Chops by itself has several different meanings. So I'll explain a little bit more about all that after we choose the correct definition. Anyone want to take a guess on this one?
Maybe this doesn't involve you. It isn't your business. B.
It's not G and it's not B. Keep guessing.
I think it's C, pretending to cry and attempts to manipulate or exploit.
Nope. Keep going.
Busting chops.
A happy person?
Nope.
No, it's so tough.
Do you guys give up? Any other guesses? All right, I'll give this one to you. This one is D, to say things intended to harass. And the phrase comes from a hairstyle. Is that surprising?
The phrase comes from a hairstyle?
Yes, it does. And I'll explain a little more now about exactly what chops is. So chops could mean, sometimes we use it with chicken, like the pork chops, or the chops of a chicken could be like the legs, I think, although I'm not a meat expert. But in this case, chops means this kind of sideburn that comes down a man's face. And I'll screen share to show you for a second. Okay. So, of course, I don't have facial hair, but it's when men have a side beard.
Okay, I got it.
I got that.
So, busting someone's chops would be like punching them in the face.
Punching someone in the face.
In this part of their face. So that's why it means to harass someone. Makes a lot more sense now, huh?
Yeah, busting shot. Okay.
All right. And Carlos, welcome to class. We're glad to have you here this morning.
Oh, my pleasure. Excited to be late.
Oh, great. So, number 4, crocodile tears. Let's give it another guess. We've already used D and I and E. So pick a different one.
Pretending to
Crocodile
cry.
tears.
Pretending to cry in an
Pretending
Right.
to.
attempt to manipulate or exploit.
Yes, exactly. You guys got it. Pretending to cry in an attempt to manipulate or exploit phony tears. So if someone's crying but they just want to get what they want, they're not really that upset. Sometimes kids do this. Sometimes adults too. All right, number 5. Close but no cigar. Any ideas on this one?
So
Close
plentiful
but
as
no
to be
cigar.
nothing special, comma. E.
Nope, I haven't heard it
Nearly,
yet.
An
nearly,
early achieving
Uh,
success.
to accept the truth. Drones
An
play when
early achieving
sunlight curtains.
success,
I heard
but not
someone
quite.
guess G, nearly achieving success, and that
Yeah,
is the correct one. So it's when you almost achieve success, but not quite. And they use this at carnival games because they used to give cigars away at carnival games.
Oh,
So when you're
Yeah.
close but no cigar, it means you
Close but
almost
no
won the
cigar.
game but you didn't. All right.
That's
Number
right.
6, happy camper.
Happy camper.
camper is a thing.
Well, a camper literally would be a person who camps. So you set up a tent in the wilderness and you live in the wild for maybe a weekend or so, maybe longer.
Is it
happy
the H?
person.
Huh?
H after
H?
G. Yes,
I think
dressed flamboyantly,
letter
dressed
F.
Yeah, it's letter F. This one has the
Oh,
word happy right in it. A happy person, a satisfied participant. That is a happy camper.
okay.
All right. Dressed to the nines. Number 7. Take your best guess on this one, guys. Dressed to the
Dress
nines.
said well.
Is when you're dressed flamboyantly, dressed well.
Exactly. H. Perfect. Number 8. To lose one's touch.
This does not involve you. It's not your business. B.
B. No, not B. Not
That's
quite.
B. Ah, lose one's.
To no longer be able to do something well. Is it A?
Yes. It's A.
Okay.
All right. And the very last one we have, none of your beeswax. There's only one definition left. Which is it?
I think we forget which one is remaining.
So let's eliminate them then. H is for 7. G is for 5. F is for 6.
Letter D.
Letter D, you said?
Yeah.
D is for busting chops, number 3.
Oh,
And E
perfect.
is for number 1, dime a dozen. C is for crocodile tears. A is for the last one we did, number 8, lose your touch. So which one have we not used yet?
This
No
doesn't
idea.
involve you.
Yes,
This doesn't involve you.
exactly. Great. It doesn't involve you. It isn't your business. This is none of your beeswax. Awesome. So these are a couple of my favorite idioms. And since we've just defined them all, we're going to write a couple sentences using these expressions. You guys are going to give context for these expressions. So, number one, a dime a dozen, is for Carlos. And Carlos, you're going to write a sentence in the chat box giving a dime a dozen good context. So you can write a sentence or two using the expression.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I will be back within a few minutes.
What?
I will be back within a few minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
See you in a bit then.
Okay.
All right. Umberto, you get number 2, face the music. And you're going to give it context and write it in the chat box for us. Is that okay?
Okay.
All right. And Kevin, you get number 3, busting chops. And again, give it a sentence or two of context and put it in the chat box for us.
Okay.
Thanks. Great, we have a couple already ready. I see one in the Verblink chat box so far. Natural disasters in Brazil in not dime a dozen as in other countries. All right. Excellent context and I think maybe just one or two small little corrections. I see. Is not. That's one of the corrections. Yeah, instead of id not. So, natural disasters in Brazil is not dime a dozen as in other countries. However, natural disasters is plural and is usually used for she is, he is. There we go. Yes. Excellent self-correction, Carlos. So it would be natural disasters in Brazil are not dime a dozen in other countries. So you're saying that there are few natural disasters in Brazil, Carlos?
Yeah, but it's more related on the rain.
Yeah.
Rain season. It's more dime a dozen.
Got it. Well, it's good that they're not very common, but yeah, sometimes that rain can be dangerous too. All right, thanks, Carlos. I see one more in the Verblink chat box. Stop busting my chops. I'll get the work done as soon as possible. Excellent, Kevin. Have you ever been in a situation like that where your boss was busting your chops? Or...
Many times.
Yeah, I hate that. Okay, and we're just waiting on one more. Umberto, do you think you're almost ready?
Yes. Just a minute. Just a minute.
Go ahead, take your time. And while you continue working on that one, Carlos, will you write a context sentence for number 4, crocodile tears? And Kevin, you get close, but no cigar.
Oh, really?
Good luck with those. And if you guys have questions, let me know as you're writing. You guys are welcome to confirm the meaning or ask any questions you have while you're writing. Okay, we got our last one here. We lost the presidential elections. We have to face the music and continue being oppositionists. Okay, awesome context. So, first of all, it should be presidential.
Presidential. Okay.
I'll put that in the chat box. But other than that, I think it's good. We lost the presidential elections. We have to face the music and continue being, not been, being oppositionists. So, Umberto, did you vote for ISU?
Yes, teacher.
I
did.
Yes. I know a lot of people who were disappointed by last night's
I am too
elections
disappointed.
as well. However, things will continue. I have faith that no matter who is the president of Brazil, things will continue to progress.
Yes. Let's see.
All right. All right. We have a couple other ready.
Oh, I think I make it wrong.
No problem. That's what we're here for, to check things out and make sure they're right. And Umberto, if you want to keep working, will you write us a sentence using happy camper?
Okay, teacher.
Thanks. Okay, so let's check out some of the other ones. Don't trust so much in her complaints. She's known for her crocodile tears. Yes, awesome context, Carlos. Wonderful job. And I have just one small change I would make to the first sentence. You don't have to put in, and I would reorder the sentence to say, don't trust her complaints so much, because the so much phrase functions like an adverb. So her complaints, being the object, would come right after the verb, and then so much, the adverb, comes after that. All right, and the next one, I was already flirting with her. I was close, but no cigar. Ooh, I like the context. Okay.
It's right.
There's a couple spelling mistakes. So flirting is with an I, and with, I think that was just a typo. It should be W-I-T-H. But I like the context and it works out.
Every day I typed it wrong with, I forgot the H.
Yeah, I'm bad with certain typos as well. Okay, so I was flirting with her. I was close but no cigar, meaning that you were flirting with the girl but you didn't find success.
Yeah.
All right, good one. Yes. Okay, and Carlos, will you write us a sentence using dressed to the nines? And Kevin, one with to lose one's touch?
Okay.
Okay, we've got one more ready. I was amazed when she showed up for our date, dressed to the nines. Yes, awesome. A date is a perfect occasion to dress to the nines. Thanks, Carlos. And no corrections on that. The sentence is perfect just the way it is. And since you're already finished, why don't you go ahead and do the honors of writing our last sentence, none of your beeswax. So when something is none of that person's business. Okay. And the next sentence we have in the chat box, I seem to have lost my touch with my girlfriend. She doesn't call me back. Awesome. So when you say you lost your touch with your girlfriend, I guess you're no longer able to entertain her, no longer able to let's see. I'm trying to think of a synonym for this one here. I think it works pretty well. Usually it's used for like a skill, but yeah, maybe having a girlfriend is a skill in itself. Or takes a lot of skill for sure.
Yeah, maybe.
Thanks, Kevin. That's a great one. It's a funny one. All right, and we've got one more. It's so easy to go along with my father because he is a happy camper. Excellent. Umberto, is that true?
Yes, it is.
Very
Surely.
nice. It's good to have family that's easy to get along with.
It's great.
All right, thanks for all your sentences, guys, and we just have one more before we move on. And then we're going to get into the interesting part. We're going to go into Proverbs, which I think are super, super fun because they're good thought exercises as well as occasions to learn English.
I like that.
Awesome. And all of the Proverbs we'll be reading today are by Mark Twain. Does anyone know who Mark Twain is?
Oh, sorry?
The writer Mark Twain. Does anyone know who Mark Twain is?
Mark Twain.
Yes, Mark Twain. No ideas? He's an American author. And he wrote Huckleberry Finn, and he wrote a lot of pretty famous things, but again, he's an American author, so he's not necessarily very internationally famous. So if you guys don't know him, you will know him a little better by the end of class.
No, I don't know him.
All right. Going over our last sentence before we move on. It's none of your beeswax what I'm writing. Awesome. And all we have to do is an awesome context, but we have to add a subject there. So you can start the sentence with it, and add is after that. Thank you very much, Carlos. Okay, so let's go on to our Proverbs. We're going to read a couple of these and then talk a little bit about them. So, Proverb number 1. Let's see. Sajid, are you back? No? Okay, then number 1. How about Kevin? Will you read our first proverb?
Sure. It's better to keep your mouth closed and let people think you are a fool than to open it and remove all doubt.
What do you think? Is that one true?
Yeah, I don't think it's true.
Why not?
It's better to keep your mouth closed. If you have it, you want to give your opinion, you need to talk to people, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Communication is important, for
But
sure.
sometimes it's better to keep it closed.
So maybe it depends on the person and depends on the situation.
When you are too drunk or something like that.
Ah, yes, that is a good occasion to keep your mouth closed, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. Umberto, will you read the next proverb for us?
Do not go around saying the word always. Always. You are leaving. The word always, you nothing. It was he first.
Okay. So this one has a couple good vocabulary words, like the word owe. Do you guys know how to define the word owe? If I owe you something or don't owe you something?
Oh. I write I own you when I play games on internet. When I won one hard round, I type on the keyboard I own you.
Yes. Own is actually a really funny word that has been sort of used in creative ways in the past few years. But own is actually talking more about possession. And I think they might come from the same root word, but the verb is a little different than possessive.
Oh, it's like a
like a debt, a debt.
Debt,
Yes,
yes, a debt. You have
exactly.
in
Like
debt with
a
your
debt.
life, work.
Mhm. Yes. So basically, the world is not obligated to give you anything. It's not obligated to give you a living or money or a good life. The world is not obligated, is what um, this
Because
proverb is talking about. Go ahead.
what word is here first?
Yes, because the world was here first. So, Umberto, do you think that this is true? Do you agree with this proverb, or do you have different ideas?
I think it's right. We shouldn't be complaining. I think that's the meaning.
Mm-hmm.
You should not complain, and we have to do everything we can do for having progress instead of complain.
All right.
That's not fault of the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the blame of the world.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Umberto. The next one is for Carlos. Read it for us and tell us if you think it's true or not. And again, it's totally okay if you think these are not true, totally false. Just tell us what you think, Carlos.
Okay, go to the heaven for the climate and hell for the company. Uh, Honestly, I have no idea what that means.
Does anyone have an idea about what he means for go to heaven for the climate, hell for the company?
Mm, go to hell, go to heaven for the climate.
Mm-hmm. So the idea here is that heaven is supposed to be this very beautiful place that everyone wants to be, but he's making a joke and saying that the people who might end up in hell are more interesting than the people who might end up in heaven. So if a person is totally good their whole lives and they never make any mistakes and they go to heaven, they might end up being a less interesting person than someone who does make a lot of mistakes. So he's making this joke like, yeah, heaven is great. It's got a beautiful climate, but hell has more interesting people in it.
In the hell?
Yeah, exactly, in hell. So like after people die, if people were divided into like good people and bad people,
So,
the
yeah, bad people go
bad
to
life is great.
heaven, and bad, yeah.
All right. So, Carlos, what do you think? Do you think people who lead kind of crooked, maybe evil lives are more interesting than people who are always good and always do right?
I think that the meaning is the people who lives with the good behavior.
Hmm.
I'm not sure about the meaning yet. Sorry.
Yeah, I think you're on the right track. So, people who have good behavior are a little less interesting and less fun to talk to. Like, if you want to have a really interesting conversation, you would prefer to talk to
I got
someone
it.
who's like
So
bad.
we can say that the person, for example, are politically correct, are more interesting. The people who are more uh, say directly, say exactly what they think, are pretty much interesting,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
then the people are more correct, politically correctly. Yes,
Yes.
I totally agree.
All right. So you would go to heaven because it's a beautiful place, but you might prefer to have a conversation with someone who's in hell instead of heaven.
Yeah, in my case, I totally agree.
All right. Thanks, Carlos. For the next one, Sajid, are you still going? Just checking in to make sure. Okay, then Kevin, go ahead and read this.
The next one is, well, okay. Age is of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it does not matter. Mm, you don't mind. It does not matter.
Yeah, so like the
Yeah.
process of aging isn't really that difficult unless, some people are really upset about like losing all their youth and they just think, "Oh my gosh, it's terrible getting
Yeah, I'm
old."
thinking, well, I'm getting old. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Age is. I don't mind. So it does not matter. I think it's the meaning. I think it's does not matter how old you are. You need to try to live. Put your mind should be young like that.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. So if you don't think too much about all of these
Yeah, don't think too much
things.
about your
Mhm.
age.
So
If you
do you think that's good
getting old.
advice?
Sorry?
You think that's good advice? Don't think about getting old too much?
Yeah, it's a good advice. It's a really good
Okay.
advice.
Thanks, Kevin. Umberto, next up, read us the next Mark Twain proverb.
Patriotism is supporting your country all the time and your government when it deserves it. I don't agree
All right, explain why you don't agree with this one.
because sometimes the people give support to a government that do not deserve, like we saw last last yesterday
Mm-hmm.
here in Brazil. That's my opinion.
Okay, so here, Mark Twain says, give your support to your country all the time and your government when it deserves it. By that, I think he's supporting what you're saying. He's saying that governments do not always deserve support, but that the people of a country do always deserve support. Would you say you agree with that, Umberto, or disagree?
No, that if the meaning is that, I agree.
Okay, great. Yes. It's a little tricky, this one, because it starts in that, like, oh, yes, support your country all the time, but your government only when it deserves it. Because, yeah, a lot of time governments don't deserve as much support as they get. All right. Carlos, can you read us the next one?
Okay, forgiveness is the fragrance that the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it.
This one's kind of a hard one. Do you have any vocabulary questions on this one before we discuss its meaning?
It's a little difficult to understand, but I think basically I think that forgiveness is the action for the weak people.
It says forgiveness is basically flowers are really beautiful, but if you squish a flower, it makes this amazing smell. It smells really good, and that's forgiveness. So basically, if someone does something terrible to you, like, I don't know, kills your mother or something, then you should maybe try to be like a violet and forgive even something so terrible.
Oh, forgiveness, yeah. That was a misunderstand. Now I get it.
So what do you think? Do you do that, or do you try to do that? Do you forgive people no matter how badly they have hurt you or wronged you?
It depends. It really depends on your character. It's not true for anyone, but if you
Yeah.
have a really a good background, really religious background, it's really work.
Mhm.
It's not for anyone.
Mhm. Okay. So we only have a few
I'm
minutes left. Did you have a
I'm
question?
back.
Oh, great. Then, with our last few minutes, Sajid, would you like to read one of our proverbs and let us discuss it a little? Read this
Yeah,
one for us.
a man who carries a cat by the tail learns something he can learn in no other way.
Okay, so this one takes a second to understand. But basically, it's saying that if you do this unique task of carrying a cat by a tail, you learn something from that action. Even if I say like carrying a cat by its tail ends up in tragedy because you get scratched and it's awful, you don't really
Yeah,
know what that means until you've done it. So basically, experience is more important than advice and words that you hear. So, do you
so
agree that experience teaches more than any book could teach you?
yeah,
You agree with that? What's an example of something that you don't think you can be taught by a book or by words?
yeah. It's very, it's an example on wordplay. As I need to improve my English, so I can read or learn myself, but it is impossible. I need some environment, some experience to learn English.
Yes, excellent. You're just
Same
right.
as
hmm Okay, awesome. Do you guys have any other questions or comments on these proverbs or the idioms above before we finish up class today?
Mhm. Nope.
No feature
Awesome.
was awesome.
Well, it's good to have you guys in class. I have 2 other classes coming up later, so maybe I'll see you guys again. And if not, have a wonderful day and a good week. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
thank you,
you.
Bye.
Janice.
Thank
Bye.
you, guys. Thank you.